Hi, I'm Antonella Calabrese, and I'm going to have these two lovely ladies introduce themselves and what they do at PARC.
I am Jane Fernald, and I'm the treasurer of PARC, but I am more importantly the mom of Tim, who has Down syndrome and has been a member of PARC for several years and has benefited from so much of what PARC provides for all these years. And that's why we're here to talk about this amazing program and how it impacts our children and young adults.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Erica Donovan. I'm the executive director of PARC. In September, I celebrated 10 years in that role, and I am so proud to be part of such an amazing organization that for over 65 years has provided family-centered services for people with developmental disabilities.
Wonderful. So tell us 3 initiatives that you would want the general public to know about what PARC actually does for this community.
So in addition to general recreation and socialization, which is really vital for our friends with developmental disabilities, we have some separate programs that over the years we've realized are necessary because our population has grown, our membership has grown, and the world of developmental disabilities has really evolved and things have changed an awful lot. One such is our Golden Gang, which is a group that is specifically for seniors. A very long time ago, people with developmental disabilities didn't have a very long lifespan. The life expectation was not very long. With advances in medicine and science and technology, our friends are living so much longer. This presents us with a problem because as we age, just like anyone, our activity level changes, our interests change. We maybe don't want to be around so much noise or lots of excitement or so much energy. And we had found that our older members had stopped coming to programs. And we really couldn't figure out why. It was a gradual shift, but after doing a lot of talking with parents and caregivers, we realized it was because they were aging and they were tired. Our activity start time was too late for them. The activities themselves might be things that they just weren't interested in anymore. Or some of our younger members just might have been a little too energetic for them.
Right.
We did not want them to be isolated. We did not want them to just not be part of PARC anymore. So we initiated the Golden Gang program, where it is especially for seniors. They meet weekly with their peers and participate in activities that are much more desirable to them. The activity start time is much earlier, so that works out. The things that they get to do and enjoy and learn about are at their pace.
Right.
So they're able to have conversations about things that are a little slower. They don't feel the pressure or the sensory problems with everything else going on. Right now, it happens to be all women. We have 6 incredible women that are part of this program. And over the past 5 years that we've been running that, we have gotten feedback that is nothing short of remarkable. Parents and caregivers are reporting improved sleep, which is, who doesn't want better sleep?
Right.
They're reporting better sleep. They're reporting increased communication. We have a woman who is in her late 50s, who for the longest time just didn't really have much to say. She wasn't nonverbal, she was just quiet and shy. After about 6 months of being part of the Golden Gang program, her caregiver, who she had been with for a very, very long time, had called and said, I don't know what you did to her, but she won't stop talking. She came home last night and had everything to say about this arm knitting program that they had done. A lot of them had expressed interest in fabric crafts, but knitting needles and small yarn didn't work with their dexterity. So the program coordinator had bought this very large chunky yarn and was able to teach them how to use just their arms. And they were coming out with squares
Wow.
that they had made themselves and they were very, very proud of. And they never would have otherwise had the opportunity to do anything like that. In addition, it's really great because just like everyone, you know, we chat with our girlfriends about different things that happen to us as we age. That's no different for people with developmental disabilities. The same changes happen to your bodies, the same creaks and cracks start to happen as you get a little older when you get out of bed.
Oh, yes.
This is such a wonderful place for them to have those conversations with each other. They talk about products that they have found that are working for them. They talk about recommendations of things as those different changes happen. So for a group of women with developmental disabilities to be able to get together, enjoy their activities at a very, very appropriate level for their abilities and their interests is just fantastic. That group ranges in age from 51 to one of our friends who is 81.
Wow. So it's not just youngsters. You really serve a community of children to aging to elderly, essentially. So this initiative is incredibly important, and I think that you've done a wonderful job in adapting to those needs in the community.
We take somebody from when they come to our camp
Yes.
as toddlers, kindergartners, and take them all through the stages of life,
Yes.
right up until
Very
81
important.
years old,
Wow.
and give them enriching opportunities throughout that span.
Wow, that's incredible. Let's talk a little bit about your camp program, because I think that is one of the highlights of what you're able to, offer to the community. So tell us a little bit about that.
Erica's the expert on our camp.
Yes.
Camp Trumbull has been running for over 30 years, and it was developed out of a need for a growing population of school-age children with developmental disabilities. There was really nowhere for them to go. So PARC took up that mantle and has just, again, evolved with the changes that have come, and we provide a really, really fun day camp. It's a camp that runs throughout the summer. It is congruent with the Plainville Community Schools extended school year program, because students with special needs do have extended school year. It helps a lot with maintenance. Summer learning loss is very real for everyone, more so for kids with developmental disabilities. So it's important to keep a little more of a routine and a little bit more of a structure, not for such a long time.
Right.
So we run our program when the students are done with their school in the morning, they come to us, and for the rest of the day, it's a true day camp experience. We have students as young as, last year we had a 4th grader, all the way up through transition. So in Plainville, transition is up to the end of your 21st year. So students with developmental disabilities can continue to get all the benefits from the school system, all the resources that are so important as you get out of school and are going to start doing whatever you're going to do in the next phase of your life. But that transition program helps with vocational experience, volunteer experience, really a lot of community things. So our campers are anywhere between that age. Camp is camp. If you've ever been to camp, you know it's messy. It's messy. It's messy. It's fun. We still provide a lot of learning opportunities, but they don't realize it. So that's always the best. When you're learning something and you don't really know it and you're just having so much fun, that's the fantastic part.
That's great.
We go on all sorts of field trips. Dinosaur State Park has become a very, very big favorite. Our campers love that. And even a lot of places around town, we'll go to Lessard Lanes and bowl.
Yes.
We avail ourselves of the different parks in town. There's a splash pad at Paderewski. And each week is themed. So it makes it a very coherent type of experience week by week. Parents and caregivers are kept up with what's going on, so they're able to send their campers in with whatever we might need. If it's a different costume day or something they're going to learn, we have an animal week and maybe critters will come in. We have a wonderful critter lady who comes in with snakes and tortoise and all sorts of great things. That might be the week that we go to Dinosaur State Park. We typically do a culture week, and there's a lot of different food and music and projects that go with that. We made Venetian masks last year because we had learned a lot about Venice. It went on for a while because everyone was so fascinated with how are there no roads? How is it all water? How are you just using a boat? So it was a really fun conversation, and it was a really good way to teach them about stuff like that. We've made matzo ball soup. We've learned about Jewish culture.
Wonderful.
We have a wonderful woman who comes in who is Indian, and she's an amazing artist, and she's done some henna on their hands. So it's really different stuff.
Yes.
It's really a lot of things that, again, these kids, these students, wouldn't necessarily otherwise have the ability to experience.
It's enrichment.
It is all
It's
enrichment
enrichment.
to their
It is,
lives. And it's a lot of fun.
That's great.
Now, there was some communication, right, between the school. Like if they have a student that's coming in as a camper that has a specific thing that they're working on, we were getting that information so that our counselors and the camp itself could work with the schools on that, right?
Yes. So we have a wonderful relationship with the Plainville Community Schools, and teachers and paras will give us the information that we need that is pertinent to each child. So we're working together with them. We had a child a few years ago who was absolutely terrified of water. Was having some difficulty with hygiene because he was so afraid of water. This was something that we put together. Our camp director is fantastic. Our counselors are wonderful. All of our staff have some sort of special ed background, whether they are currently a special ed teacher or were or are a para or are a parent. So we do a really great job of putting together goals and just even small steps that by the end of the season, we can say they've met this.
Yeah.
At the end of 6 weeks a few years ago, this boy ran through the sprinkler twice.
Excellent.
Which doesn't sound like a huge deal, but it
huge.
really is. When you're talking about people that have these fears and developmental disabilities where they're not thinking the way that neurotypical people do, it's really difficult to understand it. But to see this boy of about 12 run through the sprinkler twice
That's
at
amazing.
the end of the summer through lots of encouragement and lots of work. And that's just one of the great stories that we have coming out of camp. Sometimes the goals are huge. Sometimes they're really tiny. Sometimes they're just make sure that you allow our other friends to talk for 2 minutes. Maybe it's be quiet for 2 minutes to allow some respect. And if we get that 2 minutes by the end of the summer, it's a huge success for us.
That's amazing. You do an incredible job, I do have to say. And speaking of goals, your son, Tim,
Yep.
has recently or near recently been able to start his life independently.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that and his journey through the program.
Sure. Yes. So just in background, I remember when Tim was born, and this was almost 40 years ago, and everyone at that time told us all the things he would not be able to do. He'll never do this. He'll never do that. You'll be lucky if he speaks at all. And I remember listening to that going, I don't think so. Have you met me? And so Tim started with PARC several years ago. And initially he started it more as a recreational thing.
Okay.
Tim likes to have fun, and it was always a fun night.
He seems it.
Yeah. He'd be like, do we have a casino night coming up anytime soon? So anyway, he was very much into the recreational piece. And then PARC introduced PARC 101, which is kind of like a class. It is a class. And initially Tim was like, oh, I don't want to go to any classes. And we were like, well, just give it a shot. Just try it. And he did, and he loved it. And he started learning a lot of things that I was amazed that first he was interested in, and second that he was doing so well with. And my husband and I started thinking, maybe our son is going to be able to actually live independently. And so we started talking to him about it, and PARC 101 started giving him all the tools, or a lot of the tools that he would need to be able to do that. And we reinforced all of that at home as well. And to make the long story a little shorter, he was able to move into his own apartment with a roommate.
Yes.
And it's a program that's run by FAVAR, the Farmington Valley ARC. And so he's in this lovely apartment, and he's been able to manage his meals. He and his roommate, they're out 3 or 4 nights a week going to restaurants.
Wow.
And
He has a better social life than I.
he does. And you know, we go into the apartment and I'm expecting it to be a mess, and it's never a mess. It's always
Wow.
clean and neat, and he's flourishing and he's happy. And yeah, it was probably a bigger transition for my husband and I than it was for Tim.
Yeah.
But I think about PARC 101, and I'm very grateful that he was able to learn as much as he did through that program. And it's not just skills based. It's the subtleties, like how to get along with people. Every now and then in PARC 101, there'd be some friction between some of the PARC 101 students, and the amazing teacher, counselor that was running that program would work them through it and teach them problem solving, how they need to work through those things. And I think that's helped him. He has a great relationship with his roommate, and they have their issues every now and then, but they have the tools they need to work that out. So
That's wonderful.
It is.
It really is. So give us a little bit about how these programs are actually funded. Camp, things like that. I know it's such an important piece to the community and to the families and to these wonderful, wonderful people that pass through your program and have the absolute, I mean, when I say they're very lucky to have you as the director, you just truly care. And I think it's ultra important to keep this initiative going. So what can the community do to help support this and some of the costs that, you know, you endure every day?
Because it is irreplaceable.
Yes, it is.
There is nothing else out there. So without PARC, you know, I shudder to think about what would happen with these amazing people that have come to rely on it and count on it.
Yes.
So as a relatively small nonprofit, we rely on individual donations from businesses. We also apply for many grants throughout the year, every year, from local and regional foundations. We're very, very lucky to be funded by the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain, the United Way of West Central Connecticut, the American Savings Foundation, the Norton Trust Foundation. We do have several places that have been very, very supportive to us over the years. Of course, as the economy changes, as the world changes, as our population changes, as prices of things change, we find ourselves currently in a position where we really need to think a little bit about how we're going to continue to fund this program, everything that we do, the entirety of PARC. So we are working on a community sponsor program right now, which is a really neat way for people to sort of choose how they'd like to help, which is an awful lot of fun. We've just launched that last week. We do have some really great fundraisers throughout the course of the year. The most popular is our Thanksgiving Bowling Classic. It is magnificent. It is the most fun, high energy, even if you're not a bowler. It is so much fun to just be there and see our friends and their families and our supporters and people from the community come out, have a really, really great time. One of the best parts about our members is their enthusiasm for everything. I have never seen so many people cheering for gutter balls. It is absolutely heartwarming. It is remarkable because they understand they're all putting in the biggest effort they possibly can.
It's fun.
And they want to encourage each other. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've gotten a strike or if it's gone in the gutter. It matters to them that their friends have gotten up there and have rolled that ball down the lane. So the Thanksgiving Bowling Classic is always such fun. And it gives community members an opportunity to really get that, to really see it, to see how people with developmental disabilities can bring so much joy to the world.
And our
to
members
everyone around
love
them.
to bowl.
And
right?
our members love to
They
bowl.
love to bowl.
Our Saturday morning bowling program is by far the most popular. And every now and again, we will have to change it or do something different. There might be something else going on.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. If we miss bowling, it's a big problem. They really, really enjoy it. But even in that situation, it's a really good opportunity for them even to learn some independence. Because if they've got a few lanes down at one end of the bowling alley and someone wants to go get the snacks, being able to walk away from a group and walk independently, go finish your task, pick up your French fries, and walk back is a really big deal. Because many of our members need aids or have a lot of supervision in different things. The neatest part of that is seeing the relationships that are built. I've been at the bowling alley where I've seen someone walk down to go get their French fries, and a typical Saturday bowler on a team with his friends will say, "Oh, hey, Jose, how are you today? Oh, I'm great, Joe. It's nice to see you again." So they're meeting people in the community. There's more outreach, and it's helping our community to become more accepting of the people that were typically of a marginalized population.
Yes.
So building those relationships in the community has been really vital. And I also think that does help when it comes to fundraising, because people are more apt to understand what we do. These people are our friends and our neighbors and our relatives. These are people that we see all the time. Anyone that lives in Plainville is going to go to Nazo's and is going to be able to say, "Oh, I know James and Matthew." That's really important. Programs like what we offer at PARC are what make those things possible, but all the support in the world is needed as well.
Yes. So you have a Facebook page.
We do.
What do you put up on your Facebook page? I think you are very diligent about events, things like that. How can people find out about what is going on and how they can help at PARC?
Well, the Facebook page is, I think that's the most fun, because all of these events that we talk about,
Yes.
Someone is always taking pictures at you know, if it's bowling or no matter what they're doing, and those pictures are on Facebook. So
Okay.
I think it's fun for the members. You know, my son now is very good with technology. He's got it figured out, maybe too much, but you know, the members can go and say, "Oh yeah, look at this! Look, there's my picture," and if people are just liking our Facebook page, they'll get a sense constantly of all the great, valuable, and fun activities that PARC is providing.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you also have a website?
We do have a website. We have a running reel of photos because, as Jane mentioned, we love photos. There was actually a photography class that was held a few weeks back.
Wow.
That our members loved. They were taught some ways to think about lighting and different angles instead of just shadows and things like that. So they love to see the photos. There are several of those on our website. All the information about us, what you can expect from us, different groupings, membership, how it all works is all on our website as well.
The community can, you know, educate themselves on what you have going on, the smiles that you see in that community, all of the goals and the wins, and just everything that you do is greatly appreciated. You know, you just have done an incredible job as a group, and Erica, you're a gem to this community. So we really appreciate everything that you do. So there's a lot of information on PARC and how you can support them. We will be listing our website online here, so keep an eye out for that, and follow us on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
When we think of an iconic New England town green, we think of the place where people got together and maybe heard some music, heard someone give a speech, maybe get an award. Times have changed, but the digital town green still brings all those stories, all those voices back to a central location. Nutmeg TV has been providing community television for over 30 years. We provide great facilities and training and equipment to allow anyone to come in and produce TV programming for the community.
Whether you're a college student looking to get into this industry or a senior citizen looking to learn a new skill set, we've made our equipment accessible to anybody.
Nutmeg TV is a family, and we embrace diversity, and we work with folks from all walks of life. And it's our job to make these studios available for anyone to use. We educate folks in how to do TV production, podcasting, etc., and so they can go on to other careers in the TV business. Nutmeg TV is really blessed to have a great group of folks who work here. We have a culture at Nutmeg TV that is set from the moment you walk in the door for positivity all day long. Each and every day, we are affecting the community in which we live. We needed some studio upgrades, and we were able to get a grant with the state of Connecticut, but we needed that extra bit of cash in order to get over the hump. As you know, technology is very costly, and we needed to do that. And Ion Bank believed in us. They believed in us, they believed in the project. They came down, they took a look at what we needed, and they said, you know what, we can help get you the rest of the way. As a result of Ion Bank's financial help, we've been able to help others move on in a field that's difficult to get experience in. It's very important when you're a business that works in the community and for the community that you're working with partners who understand who you are. And Ion Bank does that. They walk with us every day. Community is important, and Ion gets community, and they get Nutmeg TV. It's community banking at its best.